And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 4 of Beards and Theories. Tonight, we're going to be going over the fourth episode of Game of Thrones, Season 8, The Last of the Starks. We will be going over some pieces that we focused on the episode, and then our theories on such things, and having a good old time. We have the wonderful Butcher's Playhouse over here.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
And you better freaking know me since you're on my channel.
Yeah, I would hope so. I would hope they would know you.
I'm Dwarven if you don't know who I am. Your friendly
Just
neighborhood.
stumbled.
What?
Just stumbled across the video randomly.
Yeah, right. Alright, so we're doing things a little bit differently tonight. Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, because of the editing and everything, I probably should. So, oops.
Uh-oh.
2 buttons, man. 2 buttons. I just gotta move this off your face. My face. Off my face. Alright. Let's do some nice background music, you know. Alright, so, like I said, we were going to be going over Game of Thrones, episode 4. We've been doing it play by play, basically working our way through chronologically through the episodes, and it's been working for us so far. No one's really made any comments about that, so we're just gonna keep going until someone yells at us.
Right.
But we're
Sounds
gonna
good to me.
be focusing a little bit more this time. Not every single scene needs to be mentioned, I suppose. But
Well, there's quite a few good ones this episode.
true, it's very true. Okay, so now that we have the introductions out of the way, I pulled a few quotes out of there, including the longest quote I've ever freaking pulled.
Oh, I know.
I don't know if I want to read the whole thing, but all right. So episode 4 begins with the sad realization that we've lost many souls in the long night, and it opens up with Dany and Jorah. She's standing over him, like weeping, and then it pans to Sansa and Theon and etc.
Those are the 2 big ones.
Yeah. And there's a few more over the course of the whole scene, but the one thing I did notice was that like Sansa and but Dany were like super sad, and like while Jon was very like he looked very sorrowful, that's not a word, but like he was filled with sorrow, like he like took this moment to like steel himself for the upcoming dangers and whatnot. So
yeah, well, him and Ed's connection weren't really, as close as Dany and Ser Jorah, so
true.
He wasn't gonna. I don't know. I mean, it's sad, you've known somebody for however long period
That's
they
the
knew
beginning,
each other,
man.
but yeah,
Episode 2.
yeah, I can't remember when it was.
3?
Yeah.
I don't know when they introduced Daenerys and her crazy ass brother.
Yeah, I mean they go way back, but yeah, they kind of had like the 2 big name guys that got killed, and then they had their little moments for the little supporting characters. They all got their little FaceTime. Yeah, that was my rough one right there. Is Barrack.
He looked like shit too.
Oh yeah.
Like if you compared to like Theon and Jorah, like they looked like sort of cleaned up. He just looked like literally they dragged him out of the castle and threw him on the pyre.
Pretty much, yeah. He looked real rough.
But I mean, there's supposed to be a moment where everyone's like coming to terms, like, hey, they lost a lot of people. But it was also kind of a hope-filled moment because Jon gives a wonderful speech. But before I get into that, I did some rough math on the pyres. So there was 96 pyres on that scene. So 12 rows of 8. and I did the math of what each people or how many people were in each one, and there's anywhere between 2104 to be precise, and 2368, which we all know is not even close to half.
No, of the numbers that they have, no. Mm-mm.
But it made it look. It was a little piece of like cinematography that it made it look like a lot, but it really wasn't.
It wasn't. Yeah, if you actually, count it out and do the math, it's not. It looks impressive. It looks
Yeah.
like a massive amount of people, but in the whole scheme of how big her army is, it's really not that meant. It's not. It's a very small percentage of what her army's supposed to be.
Right. But yeah, it was. I don't know. I'm weird, and I had to do the math because I saw. I'm like, ooh,
I can count this.
yeah, exactly. I could do some math real quick. But that's just a little food for thought for you. But then we got John's like probably top 3 speeches in this show so far, and like this is really where I was just saying that he like steals himself. Like he realizes that like yes they fell, but they fell for the greatest reason that any person could die for, to protect the realms of man. And he has a wonderful speech that I'm actually gonna do because it's so good.
Yeah.
But he starts off with those. We're here to say goodbye to our brothers and sisters, to our fathers and mothers, to our friends, our fellow men and women who set aside their differences to fight together and die together, so that others might live. Everyone in this world owes them a debt that can never be repaid. It is our duty and our honor to keep them alive in memory. For those who come after us, and those who come after them, for as long as men draw breath. They were the shields that guarded the realms of men, and we shall never see their like again. It's kind of like a poem, a little bit there.
It really is. Now that you kind of listen to it,
yeah.
The time it's very, the speed you were reading it at gave it very much a poem feel to it.
I didn't realize how like poem-esque it was until I actually read it there. It's really cool. I like that.
It's a good, it's one of what we become accustomed to with Jon Snow.
His great moments of
his great little. I mean, there's not much to it lengthwise, but what he says is super powerful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he's trying to inspire the people and make sure that those who fell are not forgotten, and that will always hold a special place in my heart because like you can't forget the deeds of those who fell.
Right. But it seems like we're getting about once a season we get a good old Jon Snow. Speech. So it was another good one. It was one of his better ones, I would say.
Yeah, definitely top. Like I said, top 3. I don't know if it's the best, but it's definitely up there.
It's up there, yeah.
And then we moved into every battle has to have the victory dinner, which was very solemn. Like when they panned into it, like
Feast.
It was quiet. People were like just like facing bowl shoveling, because like I mean it was a long night, so most of them are exhausted. But also,
and then you did all that. They probably a lot of them did that work of building those pyres. So I mean,
absolutely.
It was a long night and then a long day, and then I bet you some of them are just like, God, let's just go to sleep.
But of course, in typical Game of Thrones fashion, we don't know how long it was in between the end of the fight to.
I mean, it could have been a week in between.
Right.
Because it was pretty well cleaned up outside there too.
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of. I know they burned a lot of the. Yeah.
They had to have cleared the dead too. Like there was a lot of the dead, which they kind of turned into ice though. So I don't really know. Did they just turn into snow?
Did all of them turn into that? Did all that? I mean,
I don't know.
It just either way, it could have been a week after. We don't know. Game of Thrones time is all wishy-washy, anyways.
Hunts is here and muted because he's a freaking legend.
Oh, nice.
Thank you, Huns. I know you can't hear me, but you're the best.
Muted lurking.
I hope you get a chance to watch these. I hope you watch these after each episode so you can hear our theories and how wrong we are.
Yeah, exactly. We just throw shit out there.
Yeah. Well, that's the fun about Theorycraft. You don't have to be right, but if you come up with something that is right, you're like, ha ha! Got it!
You feel like a genius.
Exactly. So, one of the points I wanted to throw in here was that this is the beginning of, well, not really the beginning of Clegane's misery, but this is the first part of this episode that he's like really just, he's just angry and sad and just moping because I assume it's because, you know, he's really the last of the Brotherhood.
Mm-hmm.
And while he may not have been one to believe in the Lord of Light, he's really, like, since the Brotherhood was so entwined with him, like, he's really the last bastion of that belief.
Yeah, yeah.
And, like, he's just being, like, rude and nasty.
He's basically, I hate to sound like it, but he's the party pooper. I mean, he's the one, you know, everyone's trying to have a good time, and he's just trying to shit all over it, you know, every chance he gets. He's like a little snide comment or, you know, or a look.
He's really the embodiment of sorrow for this moment.
Yeah.
And luckily, right after that, we get one of the best moments, I would say, of the episode, like for happiness-wise. Gendry is asked by the Dragon Queen herself to step up, and she asks him a few things, like realizes who he is and verifies some things, and then she offers him lordship over Storm's End, which was his family's ancestral home. Which is awesome because I can't think of a better person that deserves a lordship than someone who has been through the shit.
Absolutely. And I like how they kind of set it up like Dany was gonna get after him for being Robert Baratheon's usurper's son. And then all of a sudden, she kind of like turns it there at the last second with the, does anybody actually know who's the Lord of, you know, Storm's End? And then I like how they did the little quick shot of Sam, and he's just kind of like, I don't know.
Like all these people with all this knowledge, and everyone's like,
oh. And everyone's just like, oh, okay, well, I name you, you know.
Congratulations, you've been promoted.
And he's like, you could tell, like, he got super excited by that. He was just like, oh yeah, okay.
Well, you got to think at this point in the episode, he's like, oh, I'm a lord. Arya's a lady. We can get married. Like this is how it's gonna be. My life is great now.
Yeah.
And that's where he was actually running off to go find her because no one's seen her in.
He was exactly. He was going to find her anyways. And then this was just a little bit more good news that he can run and tell her.
Yeah. So that was a really great part right there, and that's really where the party started getting more upbeat, where it's like, hey, it's okay to be happy. Look, this guy just got made a lord. He was a bastard, and now he's a lord.
You can always thank, Tormund for spicing the party up.
Oh yeah, I love that dude. He's my favorite character in the whole thing. That's why I'm really surprised he lived.
I would love to drink with that guy for one night.
Right? Oh man. The stories, man. The stories alone.
Just one night. That's all I ask for.
One thing that I wanted to pull out that was, I think it was mentioned in the books, but he was Gendry Rivers, and Jon was Jon Snow. And the bastards of the regions that they are found in is the derivative of where their name comes from, which I thought was really weird. So he's no longer Gendry River. He is Gendry Baratheon. Which is awesome. It's top-notch name right there.
Well, they tell you that I want to say it's very early in the books.
Right.
That he's Snow because he's from the north. Yep. So it's Jon Snow from the north. I know, if you're from like the High Garden area, your last name is like Flowers or something. And then from Dorne, it's Sands or something like that. I'm not 100% on all of them, but a few of them that I've come across in the books. It's kind of, you know, to the region or like the family. So like Highgarden Flowers and, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course, Snow for the north. Yeah.
Right. But I thought it was a really cool thing that I wanted to point out, just because anyone who hasn't read the book would be like, hey, why? Like, and you may not even know that his last name was Rivers.
Right. I don't think they even mention that. I know they do in the book, but I don't think they mention it in the show. I think they just.
Well, I think they did it at the very beginning with John when he's like, "I'm Jon Snow," and they're like, "Oh, he's a bastard. His name is Snow because
Oh well, no, I get that, but I'm talking about Gendry. I don't know if they actually ever mention
they
because I
did."
know they did.
He
They
referenced it himself because he's like, because he made that point that like they can never be together because he's like, "I'm Gendry River. I'm a bastard."
That's right. Okay,
Yeah.
never mind. You're right. Yeah.
But it's just one of those things like I wanted to bring up because not many
Mhm.
people have read the books. I mean, some have obviously.
Yeah.
For those of you who haven't, I'm trying to do you justice and give you some little pieces of information so you can take something away from here. We're super nerds. We read the books.
We tried.
I haven't
Tried to
finished them
pass
yet, but I've read a lot.
Yeah.
Um,
They are a.
they're top notch, top notch.
They're a fantastic read, but they are a long ass read. You better have tons of time to read that entire series. I know I have the first 3 audiobooks.
Oh, I should have went that route.
The second or the third book alone is like something like 54 hours to listen to. Uh-huh. Yeah. The first book is 33, and I'm only like 6 out. I'm re-listening to the first 3, and I'm only like 6 hours in, and it's it's interesting.
That's nuts. All right. So after that, people are beginning to party. You know, people are getting like the mood is lightening. Like, you know, like we've mourned the dead. Now let's cherish the living. Let's
the more they partake, the more you're seeing a lot more party style going on.
And a couple points that I wanted to pull out of that main the main hall there was when Tyrion and Bran were talking, because Tyrion walked up, he was getting a drink, and he noticed that Bran was there. He's like, "Oh, that's a fine chair you have there," and he's like, "That's a lot better than the saddle I made you," because way back in the day, he made a saddle specifically for Bran so that he could ride a horse, because that's all he wanted to do. He wanted to ride a horse. He still wanted to be a boy, and it was shortly after that he realized that it's not an option. But Tyrion still helped him, and that was really cool because that was like the first time the Lannisters ever did anything kind for someone else.
Exactly.
But they were talking about it, and he mentions, "Oh yeah, this is the same chair that I think was Aegon built for his nephew, who was crippled, or was it?" Okay,
I think that's what he. Yeah.
Was it Aegon? I know it was a nephew, but I can't remember if it was Aegon that did it. But I'm just gonna assume because there's 6 of them, so it's a good chance that it was one of the Aegons.
Right.
But so they built a chair, and like this information is like, this isn't in like the storybooks. Like, he knows these things because he knows the history of man in its entirety, it seems. And like even Tyrion's like I know a lot of stuff. He's like, I barely knew that. How did you know that? You're like 12. So like I think Tyrion's starting to realize that like he's no longer the cleverest man in the room. He's no longer the smartest man in the room. He's quickly falling into a niche where he might return to the imp. Which is unfortunate because that was a really rough time for him. And I think that's one of the things he fears the most, is he doesn't want to lose his place in the world. Like even way back in the beginning when he was like, "Oh, I drink and know things. That's what I do." That was still in that realm where he felt that he was important because he knew things. So now someone knows more than him, and he's no longer seen as a very clever man. He's really losing that the ability to fall back on the fact that he is, he has a place now.
And that's really what a lot of this season seems like it's been about for him. Is he's had a bunch of people tell him he's not the cleverest or the smartest, but it's really this season that's like his story arc for the remainder of this show is he's not as smart as he thinks he is,
right?
Or he's not as clever as he thought he was,
right? And I think
which is very cool. And you're getting a lot of that with some of these characters. Is they're really starting to crumble, like Tyrion starting to crumble, and we'll talk a little bit more about Dany obviously starting to go down a path that I don't think a lot of people saw coming.
Yeah.
But there's quite a few characters that are, and then John's going through this thing where he's super loyal when all he really needs to do is grab that brass ring, and
Yeah.
there's a lot going on this season with a lot of these characters that are just they're going through some stuff. So it's interesting to see how some of these are going to turn out.
And I love the fact that they're, even in the final season, they're not done developing these characters. I love that, because normally, like, when you hit the final season of an episode, you're hitting climax points, and like people are who they are because of the previous however many series the show has gone. But even now, 4 episodes into the final season, Tyrion's still changing, and like you'll see later that Varys is still changing. The two.
You kind of notice that each character has they have a series story arc, and then they'll have like a mini season story arc.
Yeah.
Where they have an overall story arc for the entire show, but then they have just a smaller one for the season. Like something happens that changes them just a little bit, that adds to their overall story.
Yeah,
which is cool, and I'm glad that they're still doing it, even with 6 seasons for their 6 episodes for their last season.
Yeah,
they're still putting the time in to develop these characters.
So I have a couple quotes I pulled from that. One was the interaction between Tyrion and Bran, and then one I'll get into in a second. But Tyrion says, "I envy you," because he was talking about the fact that he what was it? That he wasn't. Oh, why did he say I envy you? I forgot, and I just watched it again. But anyways, he says, "I envy you," and then Bran replies, "You shouldn't envy me. Mostly I live in the past." And I feel like that's going to be crucial, because he did it in typical Bran fashion, where he kind of just like looked off into space and was like, "I live in the like what creepy past? Like where is your mind focusing? Like if you're not here, then where?"
Yeah.
So I feel like that's going to be very important. So I want to pull that out. And then, of course, we had to have one of the wonderful quotes from Tormund himself, which was, okay, so Tormund approaches Jon, and he's like, "Oh, I've seen this guy ride a dragon. Boy, he's the greatest man that ever lived." He's like, "Drink this, chug it." And he's like, "I'm not going to drink that." He's like, "Chug it!" Basically. And he's like, vomiting is not celebrating. And Tormund looks at him, dead face, he's like, "Yes, it is."
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It was such a straight face too. It was amazing. I love Tormund. And he goes into another Tormund, rant about what
how awesome Jon is. And
Jon is. He rides a dragon, and he's kingly, and this and that,
and that triggers Dany's resentment, because she can't. She could grasp the hearts of the people from the east, but these Northerners, it's all Jon. Like she can't even scratch it.
I think she's starting to get that feeling that this might be how most of Westeros is.
Could be.
They're gonna flock towards Jon Snow as a king instead of her being a queen.
Yeah.
And
they mention it later, but like, because if his heritage is gonna get out, let's face it, it's gonna happen. Right. That's not even a theory. I would put money on that fact.
You start to see it before the episode's even over. I mean,
right. And Varys later in the episode mentions something that I'm going to bring up now because it's pertinent. But he mentions that Jon is Targaryen and Stark.
Yeah.
He's the perfect person to bring North into the fold, fully, completely, 100%. Because even back in
Targaryen, anger, but he's also got that Stark level head that can keep check.
Which is how he's been able to survive, really.
Yeah, and Dany just has that Targaryen anger that, she gets into those moods and it's like, screw everybody, I'm doing what I want to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that was actually right where, that was actually... Then, while they're celebrating and all the things, she takes it upon herself to, do a toast. She's like, she says something to Jon, right? Like, she, tips her cup to him. And then she says, Arya, the hero of Winterfell. So, Arya now has a title. And if
Yeah.
we know anything about this freaking show, is that if you get a title, that thing will follow you to the ends of the world. Because Kingslayer for Jamie has been paramount to people judging him and identifying him. What was the Snake of Dorn, or what's his face there? That came up to fight the Mountain.
Yeah.
His title followed. We didn't even know who he was. We didn't even know who he was
had
from.
Prince
Oberon?
Yeah, he had a massive title that
Well, yeah. But like titles are everything.
Danny's every season her title got longer.
Don't even want to go into hers.
Yeah, it's so massive.
That's gonna be really funny in a second because we're gonna talk about something that everyone's probably heard so far. But
yeah.
And then there's more. Tormund like really goes deep on the showcasing of John's talents and skills and everything. Like just pushes it that much further. And Danny's just sitting there, like, really.
You can really see that look on her face where she's like,
Oh, she's really getting more scared than bored.
She's starting to notice. She's starting to get a little bit of. You see that paranoia starting to hit the face, and it's either that or it's that Starbucks cup that's sitting on the table there.
So, if you didn't hear, there was a pretty big oopsie that happened in this episode.
So blatant too.
Someone left a teacup, which was not a Tim Hortons cup. Or what would they say it was? I think it was Starbucks. It wasn't a Starbucks cup. It was actually a local business. They got super pissed off about the whole thing because like, it's our cup. Why is Starbucks taking away from our glory? Blah 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 and all that bullshit. But
because you see a cup like that, it's Starbucks.
Yeah, exactly.
Starbucks.
And like there was a whole thing, like so many memes are made about it because Daenerys has so many titles. They did a meme that had a coffee cup and all of her titles written on it. Because like when they call out your coffee, I was like, that would
That's her full name on her coffee cup.
Exactly. Breaker of chains.
We were watching it and my wife looked at me and she goes, "Did I just literally see a coffee cup sitting on that table?" And I said, "What?" And luckily we have it on
DVR.
We have the on-demand service for HBO, where it's just basically their streaming service.
Oh right, yeah.
So
HBO
you could
Go.
rewind it, and I rewound it. I said, "Holy shit, that is a coffee cup."
See, I missed it. I completely missed it. Because I was more concerned. I watch Faces.
You were watching. It was right when Tormund smacks John, and he does that.
Yep. Well, I was actually watching her face, so like. If I was going to, like, if I was more observant, but like when people are interacting, like I knew they were focusing on her for a reason, so I was watching her emotions for this, so we can talk about it, and it just went right past me. I didn't even look at the coffee cup. I was like, oh, it's just another mug or whatever.
And that's the best thing is you'll never pay attention to that scene the same way again. You'll always look for that freaking coffee cup.
Did you see how they edited it? Because I saw it when I was watching it last. They actually panned it out instead of pulling the cup out, which would have taken like probably 20 minutes of editing. They just panned the camera in.
Are you kidding me? They did?
Yep. They just zoomed it a little bit further so you couldn't see the table. I was like, I mean, if you got to do it in a clutch moment, that makes sense. But I was like, it seems like a little cheating way to do it, but that's fine.
That should have been just something they left in as a little ha-ha.
Right, exactly. Like, they take themselves too seriously.
It's already all out there everywhere. It's a meme. I mean,
if Game of Thrones didn't need another thing to make it famous, it's golden goose.
Do you really think this is going to get your ratings under 18 million next week?
Right,
no,
exactly.
You're still going to get the same viewers. It's not the biggest deal in the world. It's just a little quirky thing, you know.
So I was named hero of Winterfell, blah blah blah. Oh, the drinking game. Have you ever played Have I Ever? Or Never Have I Ever?
While drinking?
That's the whole point of it, man.
No.
Someone says Never Have I Ever, and you say something, anyone who has done that drinks. It was like a modified version because of course.
Yeah. Tyrion actually plays that at the very first season. Right.
But it's his game, so he's just like he makes up his own rules and everything. But
yeah, he kind of changed things there. He goes, I made on. This is my game. I can choose how many
Right.
questions. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's not like a crucial moment. It was a nice moment to see
You
them
get
all.
a kind of it's a kind of reveal about Brienne, and it's
True.
kind of setting up
Character
a little
development.
something between her and Jamie, and you get that scene where
Right.
she runs off and Tormund wants to follow her, and Jamie
Yep.
kind of cock
Right in his
blocks him,
face. And
So-
then the Tyrion, the one that just sees everything, just like pours his cup into it and cheers him and
the
walks
face he
away.
gives after he does that
Yeah.
is awesome. Yeah, that was great. But,
So after that whole moment there, I wanted to put that in there because it's important in like a few minutes here that we're gonna be talking about. But
yeah.
and then
It leads to
I had
another
to
scene.
throw this in there. But Podrick's, like, for lack of a better term, that shit-eating grin that he had in his face. He's like, and turns around, and the girl's like,
The one that I loved even more than that was when Tormund is talking to the Hound, and he's complaining about it. And then
Oh, yeah,
all of a
absolutely.
sudden the
He
one
was
girl
sad.
Goes,
Sat for
The
like
one-
15 seconds.
yeah,
and
and
then
then the girl goes, "I'm not," or she says something like, "You can get on me" or something, and he goes,
see,
like
I'm
this.
not afraid of Wild or Northmen. He doesn't.
Yeah,
He's like all about that, like lean out, like what?
He's already forgotten about Brienne of Tarth.
But it's just funny because this like sexual tension has been building between Tormund's sexual tension has been building
Yeah, it's
for like
been one-sided.
like it's like 2 seasons, and
Yeah,
like it's just
pretty
like a
much.
funny little thing, and like it just instantly gone.
yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, then we go right back to Clegane. He's just immiserable. And like another girl walked over the other one. He like basically growls at her until she leaves.
Yeah.
And then a really cool moment happens because Sansa really hasn't talked to the Hound since King's Landing.
About season 2.
Yeah. And he mentions the fact like, hey, if you would have left with me, none of what happened to you would have happened. And she says one of the best lines. She says, if I didn't go through all of that, I would still be the little bird. Because that's what the Hound used to call it, was a little bird, because she was, sweet and innocent. He was just like big warrior, man. And
that's a fantastic line because
Yes.
of all the shit she went through. It made her the strong, independent woman she is now, or else she would have just been that
Little
that
bird.
sobbing and temper tantrum
Yeah,
little highborn that doesn't know how the world works or
Mhm.
So it was. I love that line. It was. I still would have been that little bird. What a great line that was.
And one thing I want to point out about this whole thing, like I know the beginning portion of these little chit chats that we're having here, there's not a lot of theory crafting in there because most of the scenes in here are just set up later things for like the second half of the episode, and that's where the theory crafting then comes in. So if you're like, oh, there's not a lot of theories going on, like move on, collect the information. Like we're pointing
we
these
get
things
to
out
this-
for a reason, so we can work into what happens later, and then we can build the
second
theories
half.
off of that.
Yeah.
I just want to
got
make
quite a
that
few.
abundantly clear.
There's quite a few I'm gonna make here.
Right, yeah, I got
this
a
evening.
couple too, and
Yeah.
a moment of pure rage.
Yeah.
Get
mhm.
into that. You're on, you.
Yeah.
All right. So, right after that little bird moment there, Gendry, or again, I keep calling him Gendry. Gendry finds Arya. He's like, "Oh, I'm a lord. We can get married. We can be the perfect couple." And she's like, "Nah, I don't want that."
Well,
not a lady.
Yeah, but she keeps doing that line, that she told her dad when her dad told her that she was going to marry a highborn, and she was like, "No, that's not me."
Yep. Yeah, she's always stuck to that
And
point. She's
that-
never been
that-
a lady.
If there was a chance that she was going to marry a highborn,
Well-
I figured it would be him if anybody, but she still went with that. That's not me.
Right.
That's not who I am.
But that's who she is, and Gendry's just gonna have to accept that. And I feel
Yeah.
like he will. I feel like he
Sure.
will pursue her maybe one more time if he sees her again, which he probably will. But I don't
It
think.
might be a nice little ending.
Yeah.
After all that, that's
probably gonna
done
be when
with
one of them
King's
dies.
Landing, it might be a little little thing going on at the end there.
Yeah, I'm thinking if it does happen, it's probably going to happen when one of those two are on their deathbed,
Mm-hmm.
more or less. And then a scene that probably blew tons of people's minds: Jamie and Brienne.
Yeah, that was.
I figured it was gonna happen, but I was not expecting it to happen right there. But after seeing it, I'm like, you know what? I can't really think of a better time for it to happen. So, all right.
Yeah, it gets it out of the way, kind of. I don't mean to say. I don't mean to say it like that. That it. Okay, let's just do this and get it out of the way. But it kind of, let's get it taken care of, because it was a little. I don't know what's going on with this season and the love connections, but they've been all kind of awkward.
But I love the concept that they had this, like, not really a love triangle, but like this like competition between two people who had no idea that each other liked it. Like maybe Jamie knew, but Tormund didn't have any idea because Tormund's Tormund.
Right.
But like this, like both of them vying for this woman, like you see it happen a lot in stories where it's like, oh, this dainty female like princess that, like, whatever, but like Brienne's a badass. Like they're exemplifying badassery and the ability to just put some freaking wampage down, and that these guys respected that, and I love that. It's a great message, and it's just really nice to see that. And I'm glad it didn't end up being freaking Sansa, because I was afraid that something like that was gonna happen to her. I was like, I don't want that. I don't want that in my story.
I really think that the Brienne and Jamie is a good combination. I enjoy watching that between the two of them.
Yeah, it was a good, like, culmination for their relationship.
Right.
But that was just a high point of that. I figured we had to touch on it. If we're gonna talk about the episode, we gotta talk about that.
It's a major moment for for the show.
So War Room. We're sitting in there, and you have that like slow meandering of the officers walking up, like, yeah, half of them are gone,
pieces off the
half
board.
of these are gone, and it's just, I hate seeing stuff like that. But afterwards, they get down to the whole concept of like, what's our strategy? Well, like, where do we go from here? And they talk, like, when it comes down to it, Dany is still like at the point where she's like, I'll do whatever it takes. And her advisor's like, we can do this with it, like, as little bloodshed as possible. Like, I have faith that we can pull this off without killing everyone. And she's like, all right, we could probably do that. That's fine. We'll starve him out, whatever. Right. And then they get to the concept of them talking about that they, like, Dany wants to go right now. And Sansa, with Arya sitting next to her looking like a badass, is like, you have, like, our men are injured. They can't move. Like, we need to wait and let them rest. And she immediately snaps, like, the North's betraying me, blah blah. And like the schism being driven between those two, Dany and Sansa, it's just getting bigger and bigger. And like at this point, they're already flying off the handle. Well, at least Dany's flying off the handle at like whims, like little whispers of like nothing. Like, that was a legitimate claim. Like, we need your people to rest. And it's not just our people, it's your people too. Like, y'all need to rest. Like, recoup, then go. And even later in the episode, they mentioned, like, your army's war-torn. Like, you guys are, like, battered, beaten. Like, we have troops that are fresh, etc.
Yeah, and this is the point that I'm making about Dany, is you're starting to really see this descent. I kind of like equate it to her dad. Like, she's going into this descent of madness. Like, she's so
Dany?
She's so consumed with being the queen that now she's being reckless, and
I think it has a lot to do with that anger.
Yeah, and since Sansa brings up right way, our armies are battered. I mean, they're literally, half of our people are wounded in some way or another. They need to rest. Nope, I don't have time for that.
Yeah,
we need to go. I need to be queen now. And I think the thing that pushed her to this was finding out that Jon Snow was not actually Jon Snow, but he was actually Targaryen.
Which would make sense because
she
she
wants to
could
get
assume.
yeah, yeah. No, you're just she's just trying to get there as quick as possible to make herself queen before this news gets out. That's what I'm
Exactly.
kind of taking away from.
Yeah, I got that same thing. Like she wants to
Yeah.
seize the throne, she wants to be crowned queen, and then that would be it. Like it
So
would
yeah,
be
if that news
much
comes
harder.
out, yeah, it doesn't matter now. She's already queen.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were like they said, like I was saying before, they want to starve him out. They want the people to turn on Cersei and then embrace Dany as their
Savior.
yeah. They want to embrace Dany as their true ruler. It's that whole thing. Like I want you to say what I want you to think.
Right.
But,
right. Exactly.
And then another really great quote: "We've won the Great War. Now let's win the last." And it's very tyrannical-esque. Like, cause like you hear that a lot when people are saying like, "Oh, the last war. This is the last one. When I take over, I'm gonna be the best. Everyone's gonna love me. People will have food raining from the skies."
Yeah.
And it never happens that way.
No. And it's just I'm starting to see, as much as I wanted in the past for her to be queen, it's not looking like it's gonna be a good reign.
A lot of what you were just saying, like that idea that you were just talking about there, we'll talk about later because that becomes a huge part of the episode.
Oh yeah.
But right after this war meeting, everyone breaks off. Like, all right, we're in agreement. All right, let's go make it happen. The Stark sisters are like, John, we need to talk.
Right.
Like, what is going on? Like you come up here. Yes, you helped us, but at the same time, she immediately assumes that we're gonna just be like we're gonna be good boys and just accept the fact that we're now ruled by this queen, and that's not Sansa's game. She is not gonna accept that as the way things are going to be, not without a fight. And he is all like I promised her this, I guaranteed that this is how it has to be, or like there'll be trouble, maybe. And then you know, Arya has a great moment where she sides with Jon, and Sansa's like, "What the fuck?" And it's like, this is really cool, like weird, like what you would expect from siblings. Like, oh, I take his side for that, but I take your side for this, and like, no one's completely on each other's side, and it's exactly how I would want siblings to talk about circumstances of such a dire circumstance.
Exactly. Yeah. It's and you know, we get at the end of it, we get whatever the line is, and Bran ends up telling her, you know, oh hey, you know, he's not really.
Yeah.
They find out, and you know, they do that whole you need to swear that if I tell you this secret, you won't tell anybody else. And of course, it's how can I swear to something I don't know? And you see within.
Dear God.
Within a scene, she's already spilling the beans to anybody that will listen.
And I think that's gonna be really important later. And we're gonna start getting into the theories now because we're like almost at that halfway mark, kind of. But
yeah.
I feel like them swear, like he focusing so much on that secrecy portion of it, they're gonna tell someone, and it's gonna be like a Littlefinger moment where he finds out and it just spreads like wildfire.
Well, I
think the North is going to be the first one. Like, they're all going to find out. It's going to spread down from there. And, like, she's immediately going to lose the support of the North. With Sansa at the helm of the dissension.
Oh, yeah. Well, you kind of get that line later on from Varys where it's like, well, who else knows? And he says, well, about eight people. And he goes, oh, so then it's not a secret anymore.
Yeah, it's no longer a secret. It's information.
It's information, yeah. So, yeah.
And then we get another great moment because I just love Bronn. He's just such a cool character. Tyrion's like cohort for the longest time. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So So Tyrion and Jaime are having like a nice conversation, basically about Brienne and his
Yeah.
and tall jokes, because apparently
'Cause he's
Tyrion's
been
been waiting
waiting.
forever to get some of these tall jokes out. It's like to climbing mountains.
Yes, exactly.
And it was like a really nice moment. And then Bronn just kicks the door and is like, "What's up, guys? I'm here to kill you, maybe."
Walking in with that crossbow too, and they're just like, "What the fuck is going on here?" But yeah, and then they what's it called? We kind of find out that he's there to kill him, but in typical Bronn fashion, you know, he's willing to hear other offers.
Yep.
So they offer him Highgarden.
Highgarden of all places.
Which is a step up from what he was offered.
River
so,
Run, yeah.
River
Absolutely.
Run, yeah. What's a step up from River Run? Highgarden.
Yeah, what's double of River Run? Because that whole like,
Highgarden,
if anyone
yeah.
ever pays you to kill me, I will double it.
Yeah, and apparently Highgarden is double of River Run.
I would say so, if not more, because Highgarden
Oh,
was like a
Apparently
place of
Highgarden
power.
Is a base of power and just a pure moneymaker.
Yeah,
Because
very
the
wealthy
Toro-
area.
Yeah, they're super loaded. Even
Whereas like River Run's like swampland almost to like a certain degree. Like this, it's the where rivers come like was it two rivers meet, and that's like they go kind of like crisscross on each other, which is great for like farming and whatnot. But like farming will never make you wealthy. Like what you need is strategic positioning, which Highgarden has. You need like I think they're mining up there, right? Isn't that where like a lot of metal comes from?
It's in the same area as Casterly, I can't remember say it right.
Casterly Rock.
Yeah, and Lannisport and all that. So yeah, there is. I want to say they do a lot of mining as well.
Yeah.
So, and I think they have a big. I could be wrong, and somebody can call me out in the chat, but
Feel free to do
they
so.
they got a rather large port as well for importing and exporting.
Yes.
So.
Which is huge in this world. If you ever seen a map of it, it's basically 2 islands makes up this entire world. Well, 3 technically if you count the Iron
technically,
Islands.
if you look at it, when it's Westeros like an island.
Yep.
And you go across the sea, and then it's
narrow
like this
sea.
big giant. It looks
It
like
is
more
narrow.
like a peninsula than an island. It's just
Right.
like this massive land, you know.
It looks like a early stages of Pangea, where like it cracked in the middle and spread apart. Which
And things just started breaking off. Yeah.
maybe that's something that actually happened, and there's absolutely no founding of this theory. But hey, maybe it happened.
Well, it's a theory, and that's what we do here. Apparently.
Exactly. So yeah, Bronn comes in. They offer him Highgarden, and he's like, "All right, cool. Don't die. I want my stuff." And like disappears into the night again. And I feel like
Typical bandit.
well, I feel like something's gonna come with that. I think Bronn is actually going to play a bigger part in this, and I think that was just to set him up. Like, hey, he's still part of this world. And then in maybe next episode or the episode after that, we'll get him to pop back in. And I think he's gonna fall right back into like Tyrion and him are best buddies, or he's gonna kill Tyrion.
I'm with you because I don't think we're not gonna see him again until after the last battle's done. It's not gonna go that long.
So one thing that he said that kind of pulled me a little bit was the fact that he's like, hey, if the hand of the queen dies and maybe a couple of her top generals disappear, like the war may get sent to be one way or the other. Like basically saying that he could kill several people and then sway the fight in Cersei's favor. But because he mentioned that, I'm thinking that maybe because like he's gonna think about Highgarden, and he's like, oh, that sounds pretty nice. Maybe if I do that on this side, so like maybe they hit a stalemate where like an inner wall is like super difficult to break. They're having trouble getting through it, and he just comes out, but he's like, ka-chink, here's the door open. Good luck, boys.
Yeah, I think and that's a pretty solid theory that I think.
Plus, he always does the right thing when called upon.
He does. He really has that. I do everything for money. But if push comes to shove, I'm really an okay guy. So.
But he did shoot Drogon, so he's gotta
True.
die. Sorry, gotta die.
He made the reference. I shot at a dragon.
Oh, I thought he did hit it,
No,
or he clipped it.
something happened. It didn't do anything. To
The
him,
dragon
but-
got hit. I remember that, but it was like a grazing blow. It was like in its like
But I
shoulder.
just laughed because earlier in this he goes, "I almost shot a dragon."
Maybe he did almost. Maybe it was a graze. God, I gotta go back and watch that episode now.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, okay. So Ron jumps in. Oh, he makes a really another great quote. Kill a few hundred people, they make you a lord. Kill a few thousand people, they make you a king.
Fantastic quote.
And that's like his whole mindset. Like that's his goal. He wants to kill a few thousand people, maybe become king one day.
Yeah. Very true though in that world. Very true.
And then there's a little super awkward moment between Tyrion and Sansa on the battlements, and there was a lot of information that was shared between those two that I think is going to play a huge part in the future. Sansa makes mention that every time a man from her family goes to King's Landing, horrible things happen, and I think that's foreshadowing for what's going to happen. And I think that also because of something that happens later, and we'll get into that.
Right.
It's a two-parter that kind of built this theory for me, and she also mentions the fact that what if there was someone better for the job, and
So,
right there is what
Basically spilled the
drove that
beans.
idea that she no longer, well, I mean, not that she ever really truly supported Dany, but she now has her sights on making Jon king.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, she literally in a 10-minute time period, after she swore to John, I will not say anything. She goes and tells.
but she
probably
doesn't
the
know
word.
that Tyrion doesn't know.
Well, I mean, I'm
Or
sure.
does know. She doesn't know.
Yeah, but she's still blabbing about it when she's not supposed to.
Yeah. Well, she's
So-
alluding to it, and Tyrion's
Yeah.
smart enough. If he didn't know, he would.
Play
Put
it
two and
off
two
like
together.
He did. Yeah.
He may not be the smartest man anymore, but he's smart enough.
He's not a dummy.
Yeah. All right. So that and they talked a lot about like the validity of her claim, things like that. Basically, Tyrion basically defends Dany this entire episode against everyone, and that's just pure faith.
And that's John's doing the same thing, man. It's just like he's like, oh, I'm not going to.
He doesn't want it.
You're the queen. You're my queen.
Yep.
And then we have that scene in her room where she has this paranoid breakdown,
mental
like
breakdown.
panic attack. Where she's like, no, I told you, you have to not tell them. Don't ever tell them. Don't do it. I want to be queen. It's just like she's having like this panic attack.
She got very petty in that
Yes.
moment where you're like,
And
this
then
is
when
my
he goes-
gym. You
he
can't
goes-
take it from me. I'll do anything to stop it.
Yeah, and he does that little, speech, and she goes, well, I told you what you had to do. Like, very, very nasty, like, it's like
Her way or the highway.
yeah, absolutely. And this is another scene where she's taking another step down this road to madness. I call it the road to madness. Because it seems like she's going insane, and it's not the last time in this episode that we see it either.
Right. I know you mentioned before that you think that either Cersei or Dany, one of the two of them, is going to go mad and do exactly what you. I mean, you're siding towards Dany, but Cersei may do the same thing just because she's freaking evil, but
Well,
torching
she's
the city.
I don't know if she's gonna do the whole burn them like.
Well,
the
do
Mad
something
King
horrible
did, but
towards the people.
She's doing something crazy with the bringing all those people in.
Yeah,
to,
well, that's
you know,
tactical. That's not.
Yeah, to keep her from using the dragons to burn down
Right.
the Red Keep.
Well, if there's-
So
we'll get into that and then the fatal mistake that she made.
yeah.
So they allude to a couple things, and then one of the moments, like, I thought this was gonna be the moment that pissed me off in the episode. Whoa, was I wrong?
Yeah.
But this moment was not a good moment for me because this, like, there are a bunch of goodbyes happen right now. Tormund and Jon, basically, he's like, like there's always a spot for you in the north. Like I'm taking my people, we're going home. Like we don't belong here. And he, of course, based it off of how women feel about him down here. But he's just like we have to go. Like this isn't our place. We don't belong here. We need to go. And he's like, if you ever
safe again, yeah.
Right. And he's like, if you ever want to come north, man, like you got the north and you come on up. And then John the like I don't know if I even care if John dies anymore after these few scenes here, but he tells Tormund to take Ghost with him, which is technically probably a kindness towards Ghost, but he has had Ghost with him since episode 1, the entire time, and Ghost has saved his ass countless times.
Yes, but and he was pretty messed up in that episode. I mean, not. Oh, Ghost was definitely heavily wounded. He was missing an ear. He's got this like wicked gash on his arm, and I mean, if you know anything about me, I have a soft spot for animals. So like when Ghost was like whimpering, oh man, I was like, John, fuck you, man. I'm out. I mean, I'm not in Team John anymore. I hope you die, bitch. reading what I've read about behind the scenes stuff, it's very obvious that it's super expensive to do what they do with Ghost.
Yes, with Ghost, yeah.
So this was a convenient way to just, hey, we're sending him up north with the wildlings so he can be amongst other dire wolves that hang out up north. And that's what they said. You didn't see him between season 6 and season 8,
right?
Because it was just so expensive to. And then you only see him in the 30 seconds of the third episode.
3 windows so far.
Where he's 15? Running and he's just standing there because, and that's what they said. It's just so expensive to animate that dog into that size and stick him into scenes and I'll be honest, sometimes the CGI or whatever doesn't look very good. The first time they panned to Ghost when they were talking about him in that moment, he looked placed, like he wasn't part of the scene. Like they just stuck him in there, absolutely. The green screen effect where they just kind of like plopped him in the sea and it's like, hey, he looks like... I think that's what it was let's just plop him in there somewhere so we can show that he's still alive and I feel like in between the first few times that they showed him and now, they changed the way that they do him because he doesn't look as real as he did before. So I think they may have had a caricature of it, like maybe a actual like. I think they did. If they use a physical object and modify it, it's a hell of a lot easier than just using a pure CGI because they can like manipulate it and stuff like that. It's all editing. And I'll agree with that because I've been watching through the seasons again. And I'm at where they just had the battle of with the Night's Watch and the Free Folk or whatever you want to call it. Like the big fight where they like climb the Castle Black. Yeah. And there's many scenes with Ghost where he's jumping around and ripping, the throats of the wildlings and so and it looked so much better than it has the last couple of episodes. So I'm almost certain that they do a lot of scenes with an actual big dog. Yeah. They kind of just enhance it a little bit. But well, even if they did like not taxidermy, but like just a big model and just placed it and then modified the model, they still look better than what they're doing right now. Because he almost looks like he's glowing. Like when I see him, every time I see it, because he's so white, so white. It just every time you see him, he just looks out of place. I feel like he's getting whiter every time we see him, even though he's bloody and shit. He still looks whiter. Yeah, but. One of the things I want to point out is that it's not necessarily a theory, but it's symbolism, which I love doing theories and symbolism. So you're gonna get a lot of symbolism from me as well as theories while we do this. But him telling Ghost to go north with Tormund is basically him letting go of his Stark, like what makes him a Stark, because that Ghost embodied all things. It was a direwolf, the sigil of House Stark. It was his defender, like since the beginning, from like day 1 of the show. He's basically just like he's letting it go. He's accepted the fact. It's what it is. He's accepted the fact that he's a Targaryen at this point. Where like after the conversation with his sisters, like he's like, I'm not a Stark, but you're my family. So he is not
seeing himself as a Stark anymore, which I think
Exactly.
ties into the whole fact that his claim is stronger than Dany's, and I think that's, I mean, obviously it's going to become a huge issue, but it's not just going to be from the outside. He's going to have an internal struggle with it because he is a Targaryen, and now seeing that he sends Ghost away, that's basically him like denouncing his Starkness, but it's all symbolism. Like, obviously he's not doing it openly, but like he accepts, like he finds out that he's a Targaryen and then immediately sends his wolf to go live in the north, even though it's a kindness towards the wolf. Symbolism.
It's yeah, I like that. I like that.
Blah blah blah. Claim the throne. Yeah. So. Oh, and Sam and Gilly. Him saying goodbye to Sam for like the final time. Like, they probably will never see each other again. Like, they're gonna go live in Old Town, right? Or are they gonna stay in Winterrun? Either way.
I think for right now they're staying there, but the plan is probably to go back to continue becoming a maester.
You think so?
But,
I don't know if they'll accept him. Although he did get a part.
Well, you know, there is no more Night's Watch anymore, so I mean.
Oh no, he's not. He's not going back to the Night's Watch. That's gone.
No,
Like, they
so
don't.
I can't see that we don't see Sam again.
Maybe it'd have to be a special circumstance. They
You know,
wouldn't say
even-
goodbye just to bring him back immediately. So.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's.
But it's
it
nice though,
sucks
because
that
like.
it's the last time we see Sam.
Yeah. Oh, also, what happened to the baby?
I don't know. They didn't have the baby.
Right. That's weird. That's weird.
But
Especially because her family is very heavily based on children, like Castor's family. Like, they were the ones giving the babies to the Night
That
King.
was the whole reason she left.
Yeah.
With Sam in the first place.
Oh shit! I didn't even realize that. Oh no! So
Nah, I'm sure
we were gonna have a guest speaker tonight, which I told you about, but because we didn't do it on Tuesday, obviously we're doing it Thursday today.
Right.
I wasn't able to get her, but she is very knowledgeable, and she brought up an idea to me, and I'm gonna give her full credit for it because it was not my idea at all. She made me start thinking about it, but she thinks that there's something about the babies, because we never found out what happened to the sacrificed babies to the lieutenants of the Night King.
Yeah,
And I feel like she mentioned it, and I agree with her now that she explained it to me, but I feel like there's going to be something more to that. I feel like those children are going to be something. And
you never see what I mean. I know you see them get taken to the Night King,
right? But you never
in the fourth season where he does that little.
Yeah, he infuses that with magic.
Yeah, but you never see what happens. To
exactly.
them.
I just assumed. Yeah. I assumed that those were the lieutenants. I assumed that he was just growing them into a boat.
They got big and they turned into his underlings.
But at the same time, something that she pointed out, because she's very, very knowledgeable about things, Gilly's baby was going to be number 100. He doesn't have 100 lieutenants, so either there's a high mortality rate of being infused with magic, or that's not the case and they're being used for something else. And I'm thinking, like, the children, like the first men and the children of the wilds, or whatever, however you want to reference them.
Children
like
of the trees, or
yeah, they're magical creatures and they look like children. So like, maybe he's trying to bring them back in a sense, because he was created by them with their magic. Maybe he's trying to reverse that and bring like a natural order of things back, because the Night King was created to fight men for the children of the.
Yeah, to
whatever
keep them from, and then it gets out.
And then
of hand,
obviously
like
we all know what
always
happens
does.
Yeah, but like it's a theory that I love, and I really hope. And what I mentioned to her was that we never found out what the symbols mean, like the arms that were all displayed in that weird drain thing. But I mean, maybe those things are all like connected. I don't know. I want to find out though, and I really hope they do something with it. I hope they don't just abandon the idea.
Yeah, like there was no explanation on why they do those symbols. That would kill me. I'd be like, ugh.
I'm big on symbolism, like obviously symbolism, but also symbols themselves. I love things that have other meaning,
right?
Besides just a giant flaming arm signal.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. We're actually doing pretty good at time, so I'm letting us get a little off track. This is fun.
Right.
And we're actually getting pretty.
Yeah.
So. Yep. Then there was one of the first discussion between Tyrion and Varys about the state of mind of Dany and the situation with Jon and his claim to the throne, and like they go back and forth, like he doesn't want it, she like this is when we find out that it's no longer a secret, it's information, because Varys is all about that. He's the best at finding out secrets and spreading information, so that's like his jam. So as soon as like someone saying something like that coming from him means a lot more than someone just like, oh, whatever. But
well, you really get the feeling. Well, you don't really get. It's pretty obvious that in this scene is Tyrion strongly still behind Dany, and Varys is strongly behind going with Jon.
Well, at this point, he's kind of iffy. He's testing the water with Tyrion. That's how I got it. He was like bringing it up, like because what they're talking about is treason. So he's just kind of like how do you feel about this? What do you think? And he's like testing to see where he stands.
But I think, if he had his choice, he would go with Jon. So, yeah.
Oh, I guess I could just tell you since we're not talking. What's going on, though, bro? We're going over theories, and we're going... Okay, so we're kind of breaking down some scenes and some important parts of the most recent episode of Game of Thrones, which was The Last of the Starks. And we are developing theories and just chit-chatting, talking about symbolism and callbacks to old seasons, like little things that people may not have caught on to, or things that we have created the idea for through the use of symbolism, basically.
Yep.
But it's good. I don't know if you care for Game of Thrones. This is new. Me and him just started this. This is the second stream for Beards and Theories. But we like I said, second time we've done it, and we've been doing okay with it. Like we don't have a lot of people watching, but hey,
we're working on it.
Well, no, bro. If you ever get to the final season, remember us, and then watch the episode and come watch us, and you'll be like, "Oh, that kind of makes sense," or you can laugh at us for being dumb.
Yep.
Just, if you watch the whole thing.
That's basically how it goes.
But we might move into other other shows as well. So it's one of those things that we're laying the groundwork for something bigger, maybe.
Yeah.
But
we'll see.
You like the name? It came to me when I was drinking a cup of coffee. I was like, man, what are we gonna call this? I don't. Oh my god. That's exactly what happened. Like my wife was like cooking eggs, and I'm just sitting there like. And I like ran it by her, and she's like, "Oh yeah, it's kind of cool." And then I immediately sent you a message. I'm like, "What do you think about this?"
At first, she was like, "Everybody involved has a beard, right? This isn't just referencing you."
Oh yeah, right. But yeah. So we're having fun with it. We're not taking it too seriously because we want it to be like a laid-back conversation type, not quite a podcast, but not quite a like an in-depth discussion. Like we want interaction from the viewers as well. Like we want to hear your theories too. We want to we want to hear the theories, but we also want to hear how you came up with it because that's half the fun.
Yes. Love listening to theories.
So we ended that talk. What happens if you shave the beard? Then I kill myself.
Yeah.
I've accepted that my life will always have a beard at this point.
Exactly. Yeah.
If I ever shave my beard, it will be for an
charity,
an astounding charity style circumstance. Well, it's fine. Do you like listening to theories? Because we go into pretty good detail about how we came up with them. And if you like thinking about stuff that might not ever happen, but could potentially happen, like just taking guesses at what might happen in the future. You don't even have to have a basis on it. Just like throw it out there and be like, but just by knowing things about the show, you can back it up. And that's my favorite part about theories. You don't have to, like, as long as you can back it up with anything, it's not wrong.
Right. That's right.
But yeah, so we were talking about Varys and
Oh yeah, Tyrion.
Tyrion talking, and like I said, I'm thinking that he's just testing the waters at this point. He's like seeing how he's gonna respond. But like what you said, Tyrion is incredibly faithful.
Yeah, he's
towards Dany.
entrenched on Dany's side, and I know he hasn't flat out said it, but you're really getting that feeling about Varys being with Jon, you know.
Yeah. And the big thing that Tyrion's pushing is like, what if they ruled together? Like, obviously have a relationship. It wouldn't be the first time the Targaryens did, you know, incestual things, and it's not uncommon in this world because Jaime and Cersei. But
Varys brings up the good point. He goes, a lot of, you know, Tyrion brings up, you know, Targaryens marry brother to sister all the time. And Varys comes back with, yeah, but Jon Snow's from the north.
Oh.
Is there a lot of brother and sister marrying up there? So
I love Tyrion's face too. He's like, shut up.
Yeah,
Right.
he's just like, yeah, you're right, whatever. So I don't think that's going to be a plausible. And you saw that in the room where she's wanting to kiss him, and he's just like,
oh yeah, he backs up real quick.
This is gross. No, we're not doing this.
And then another. Well, I think this is the last quote I had, but this is straight from Tyrion, the Lord of quotes. I've taken so many of his because it's just always on point. But he goes, at the end of the day, we still have to take King's Landing. Maybe Cersei will win and kill us all. That would solve our problems.
That sure would. That would make things a lot easier.
Oh, and then
Oh, yeah.
the moment that everyone hated, me most of all, which I'm going to debunk the crap out of because that scene was a fucking bullshit. And I know I'm not supposed to swear on YouTube, but I don't care because bullshit. But
Sure was.
Rhaegal, the poor creature just learned how to fly again. Like, he's just got comfortable with his wings because he was injured in the longest night, and they're flying, they're having a great time, and bam, right in the chest, takes a freaking ballista round, and then again, and then right in the neck. Like, I was hoping that he was gonna take one in the chest and like flick it off and like go fly to land and like lick his wounds and like be out of combat. That's fine. And then the neck shot happened. I'm like, you're on.
Yep, I knew exactly.
Oh, like you're lucky I don't have my axe right here. Like, you're so lucky, man. You're so lucky. Because, and then she like perfectly, like, I love the Targaryens for their rage because she sees that happen and nothing else matters. She's like, you're dead.
She was full on.
And because she didn't want to sacrifice her other dragon, but.
Well, if it wasn't for that dragon, she was dead because she was about to get absolutely clobbered by those things, and she saw it too. She at the last second, she was like, oh, you know. But and then, of course, smart. I will say one thing about him: he's smart. He turns those things on the boats, man.
No, Euron's not smart. He's a coward piece of shit. Is what he is.
Well, he's smart enough.
I will suffer no positive nothing about Euron. He is a coward. He's a piece of shit.
About this man.
And I sent you something. I said this after I said this when I was watching the whole circumstance. I'm like, Euron and his cowards deserve nothing but the hottest fires and the sharpest knives with a hint of lemon and salt.
Yep. Yeah.
It's like I gave Euron a compliment because he used an axe when he was fighting his niece and nephew. I take it back.
Yeah.
He's a coward, and he will die.
I have disliked him since the very minute he stepped foot on screen for the first time.
His the guy who plays him, does a great. He is a great casted character. Same with oh god, I can't remember his name.
Ramsay.
No, well, yes.
Or Joffrey.
Joffrey was what I was going for.
They have been very lucky with the people they picked to be these despised, despicable characters.
Punched my ring. And it hurts. But I take it.
This is what Euron does to people.
Face. Stupid son of a bitch.
So we lose a dragon again.
Yes. So now we're down to one dragon.
Yeah, but he's the badass out of the three. So
We're down to Drogon. Drogon, however you want to say his name. He is the original. Like, he was the one that she always favored. So it's right that he is the.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. But he does. Right after he shoots the dragon, they turn the ballistas on the ships. Which, okay, now that we've talked about this, how the f did they not see those gigantic sails on Dragonback? It's not tactics. You could clearly see the coastline. If they would have crested around it, there's no way they would have seen the dragons before they saw the ships. Yeah, giant black sails on water backdrop, they would have seen the ships.
I'm kind of wondering how the ships didn't see.
Exactly.
Those massive,
no one saw Euron until the story progressed and the dragon died. Bullshit.
And the logistical setup of where the ships were, where the dragons were flying all over the place, super high too.
Exactly.
They couldn't. They put in these whiffs of clouds and stuff that. No, there's no way. Those ships are so freaking massive, like you said. There's no way that they go unseen.
And ballistas can't shoot that far.
No, not as high.
And not accurately.
No, there's no way.
That's like a first draft ballista. Like, they were like, oh, look at this new weapon we made like a season ago. Less than a year ago, they're like, this is a cool new weapon. And you're telling me that they mounted them on the front of a ship, made it so that they could accurately shoot them, trained all the people how to like sniper shoot them.
Like that was my biggest thing was he's all of a sudden this expert shot where it's sitting on the front of a boat which is rocking
going like
in the
this.
water,
yeah.
But yet he has the accuracy to hit him dead square in the middle of the chest and then through the neck. Okay. No, I don't buy it.
Salty.
And then they got these things frickin' mounted at every tower on the wall at King's Landing. Okay. It was a nice...
How's it going, Static? We're talking about Game of Thrones theories and the breakdown of the episode, the most recent one. So if you don't want any spoilers, beware. Chock full of them right now. And we're talking about battle tactics and what... Yeah. Something didn't have to do something. Because I'm not, if you haven't watched the most recent episode, I'm trying not to spoil it for you, but I'm very angry.
Yes.
Because there's some bullshit. The tactics don't add up. The field of view doesn't add up. The weaponry doesn't add up. It was all for show. And I know it's a story, but it still pisses me off.
We got a little riled up in the last episode too about some tactics and how they position their troops and their defenses.
Maybe we'll do a whole episode on tactics
You know what? I was just thinking that after this is all done, we pick like
go
specific
back
things and go back and watch
Battle
all
the Bastards
battles. Yeah, and just kind of comment on the tactics. That would be a good episode. I would love to do that because there's quite a few.
This is oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you got it.
This is can I call you Bob? Like, okay.
That's fine.
This is Bob the Butcher from Butcher's Playhouse. He has a YouTube channel. He does some really funny stuff. He does skits in GTA and everything. It's pretty funny. And he has a knack of getting random things to happen that are hilarious and
that aren't supposed to. Yeah.
And they're just like little shorts. So it's like a 1.5-minute video, and it'll make you laugh.
They're between 30 and 40 seconds, man. Okay. They're real quick.
But they're good. If you take a minute, go check it out, because I wish I could create stuff like that. But thank you for that, Static, and thank you for showing up. I appreciate you being here. Static is a pretty funny guy. We get to have interesting conversations, and if you've ever seen a conversation that I've had with Sir Biscuit, you understand the kind of conversations that Static and I get into.
Right.
But so let's get back on topic then. So bullshit, but we'll move on.
Yeah. We'll dedicate an entire episode to the tactical flaws of Game of Thrones.
I'm gonna destroy your. I'm gonna find a way. I'm gonna find him in one of their 40 mobile games that they made, and I'm going to crush his tiny, minuscule soul.
I don't care how much time or how
I don't care. I will spend money and be like, oh, look at this fleet of 1 million ships. There's not even enough wood in this continent to make it. But I'm hunting you, Huron. Everywhere you go.
Hundreds of dollars and spend hundreds of hours, and all of a sudden you get to him, and then he crushes you.
No, it won't happen.
No.
I will infuse my men with the dwarven spirit. They will not fail, and if they do, I'll disown them.
You're on.
This is exactly how it's gonna be. I'm gonna develop a megaphone for that one moment where it's just like, you're on! You know why!
Right.
But anyways,
we went off the deep end on that.
Listen, if there's anything that I am, it's extravagant, alright?
True.
Eccentric.
It's true.
So ships get destroyed, their fleet basically gets demolished, and it's a really cool scene because you see the ships in the background and a bunch of people going on the shore, and I love when shows do that. It's a really cool concept because you see like the debris and chaos out there, and the fraction of the people that made it to the shore.
Real quick, this is one of my pet peeves about this show, or one of my issues with this show, is they do some things so spectacular with CGI.
Yes.
And some things they do so terribly bad. Yeah. It's like, you know, like the dragons, no matter what you do with the dragons, it's like that is what they sink a majority of their money into, because everything that you see with the dragons is so fantastic.
Beautiful. There was one thing that I saw in season 3 when the first time she ever used Dracarys, that command for fire, the fire looked really freaking stupid. But
that
continue.
Was season 2, yeah, where she was teaching him to cook their. Yeah.
No, it wasn't even that. It was when she was captured, and then they released the dragons, and she's like, Dracarys. It was like a really cool moment, and then the dragon breathed fire, and I'm like, what the hell was that?
No, it was when she got the Unsullied, and what happened there?
It dropped. Keep going.
It's when she got the Unsullied, and she was gonna give the one dragon to the slaver.
Yes.
And she calls it, and it was so. It's like all of a sudden it shoots this really terrible looking fire, and then he's on fire, and he's you know. But
that was still before it was huge, though. So
yeah, but here's the thing, and then there was this scene where you see these ships getting ripped apart, and it's just looks so good. And then they do stuff like Ghost, and it looks awful. Absolutely awful.
Static, have a good evening, man. I appreciate you stopping in. You're awesome. Like I said, check out Bob the Butcher here, Witch's Playhouse. Great guy. There's actually a link in the description. You can check it out. He's good peeps. Get to know him.
I try.
Shut up.
Shut up and take my compliment. You're ruining the show.
Yeah, that fire just pissed me off. But everything else, like when they grew up and the flying, it looks beautiful. And that's one of the things I love about the show is like they focus so much on the dragons, and I love it. And then they killed them off.
Yeah. No, I get you.
I'm not salty. You're salty.
I'm agreeing with you, partner.
All right. So the big part about the ships going down and everything, they lost another big portion of their units. They didn't say specifically, but the scene after this, when they actually approach the castle, not a whole lot of.
No, they don't have anything.
The Unsullied. They're
and
not.
That's a question I have. Is that all she has with her?
I really hope not. She didn't have that many to begin with. I think she only had like 4,000.
No, and that's what they said was they weren't going to take the dragons were going to basically do a flying protection of what troops they send that way. But from what I gathered was John was taking a vast majority of the troops on the King's Road.
Yep. So, and they said it's going to take a fortnight to get there.
2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah.
Time changes on that road, man. I remember
right?
the first
There's just like
episode,
weird like
Robert
time warps.
Baratheon said it took them a month, but then again, how he is, he's constantly stopping and eating and whoring and drinking. So
Also,
it might take him a month. Yeah.
also, that was a fortnight to get to Dragon Reach, not to King's Landing.
Oh, okay, yeah. So that does make sense because that's about the halfway point
Yeah.
between the north and
Yeah, it's kind of like off to the side, but yeah, they go like this and then they come down
yeah,
to
but
King's Landing.
it's about halfway.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. So yeah, it would be about 2 weeks. Makes sense.
Oh yeah, and the big part that I wanted to bring that was because Missandei goes missing. If you don't know who Missandei is, that is like the beloved of Grey Worm.
Yes.
Like those two made the best couple.
Danny's personal assistant.
Yes, what another one of her advisors, and then Grey Worm, which is her general.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Grey Worm when we get to that next part. So Missandei's missing. Everyone's freaking out. They collect their what's left of the ships and everything, all the people, and then they move on. But they actually take a moment to talk in another war room about what happens next. And this is really when Danny is beginning to show signs of fracturing from her original course, which was to save as many people, eliminate tyrants. And now she's starting to embrace the Targaryen way of screw that noise. I'm going to get what I want any way I can.
And she basically said, without actually saying it, I was waiting for her to say it, but she didn't. Burn them all, like her dad,
like her father. Yeah,
like, you can tell that's what she
coming.
wants to do, but she doesn't actually say it. But you can tell that's what's on her mind. She wants to burn them all. You know,
easily. She even mentions she's like, why would I wait? And like her advisor's like Varys had to take a moment. He's like, listen, like I know I told you I would never look at you and lie. Listen to me, please. Like pleading with her. It's like please do not destroy this city. There are thousands of innocents that are in this city. Don't do this. And she's like,
I don't care.
I'm probably gonna do it, but
yeah, I'm probably gonna wipe out everybody.
But both Tyrion and Varys are like struggling to like hold back her like unfathomable, I can't say that word, rage that she is brewing inside of her.
Yeah, she's really by this point.
I'm with her.
Well,
they're not even my dragons, dude. I'm irate.
Yeah, she's well on her way after what happened to the dragon, and now.
Listen, if they have to sacrifice all the people in King's Landing to kill Cersei, I'm cool with it. For the record, I'm cool with it.
I would probably be the same way, but I model my whole internet life around being a butcher, so it's not.
Fair enough.
It's not really out of the realm of possibility that I would wipe out an entire just to kill one person.
Well, my idea is, the audacity of Cersei, and what do you need help with, no, bro? But the audacity that Cersei has shown, and the fact that she'd be so willing to bring all those people into danger, I'm really hoping that their their attempt to turn everyone against her. Go T, always go T. T is great. Well, it depends on what kind of tea. But she's now lost 2 dragons in the course of a week, and I would be fracturing too. I always try, every time I play a game or things like that give me an option to save people's lives, I'll do it. It's usually not but I've never owned dragons either, so if I watch one of my dragons get shot out of the sky like that because of some punk ass who with a tiny crossbow, I'd be scorching the earth. I'd be scorching the sea. I'd be tearing down cities, regardless.
You can easily make that point that a lot has happened within a short period of time to her. But are you going to kill hundreds of thousands of people just to get at one person?
Honestly, I don't even know if it's gonna be that much, but honestly, you
It's
wouldn't
gonna
have
be
to.
a lot. It's gonna be
Yeah.
a lot. There's gonna be a lot of collateral damage.
I mean, maybe it is a really big city, but honestly, torch the castle.
I mean that's fine. That's fine. But they're making it seem like she wants to just destroy the entire city.
Which she doesn't. Like, she's made it blatant. Like, she is still having that internal struggle where she wants to still be seen as the breaker of chains, the one who frees everyone from tyrants.
But here's the thing: after that ending, do you really think that's the same plan?
No, and we're gonna get into that because she's in my realm now.
Yeah.
But so that's in at this moment it pans away. They discuss their ways or their suggestions for Dany at this point, and then Tyrion and Varys have another moment together. And this is not as friendly as the first one. This is where Varys is openly talking about how Jon's a better choice. Why are they still focusing on her? And this is where faith comes in, and Tyrion really shows his colors, which I commend him. He is holding true to a belief that I never thought that when I first met Tyrion he would ever go to that extent to do.
And I think I got the two conversations kind of confused. Like,
okay,
I think this is where I really got that feeling where they were split.
Yes.
Where Tyrion's with Dany 100%.
Yep.
And Varys is 100% with Jon. Like this is where the split is now. So obviously Varys is going to be pushing for Jon.
Yep.
So
I wouldn't be surprised if
gonna
Varys hovers around Jon.
There's so much. I mean, they got this. They want to defeat, which I have a huge theory for next episode that I want to get into here in a little bit when we wrap up.
Okay.
But there's so much. This one little army's got so much going on, man. They got they're trying to take the capital, and then they got their advisors basically at odds now about who they think should run everything.
Yeah. Almost like a civil war.
One of the two is completely oblivious to anything that's going on besides wanting to be Dany's, trusted side, right-hand man,
right,
in Jon. And the other one just basically going insane in front of their eyes, and it's just like, wow, where is this going to end up?
Yeah.
But I have a theory which I think is almost completely wrong, but when we get done, I'll explain it.
Well, you talking about that? Actually, I just kind of came up with a little one too, so we'll discuss that in a minute. Yeah. So basically, like you said, it comes down to Tyrion 100% team Dany, and Varys basically almost like I said like 90% team Jon.
Yeah.
And then they basically break off, and Varys, who never walks away from a debate or a conversation, is like, I've said my piece as clearly and as truthfully as I possibly can. We have to make our decisions, and like that's exactly how I expect like advisors to have a conversation or like something like that.
Exactly, yeah.
But then it jumps back to Winterfell, and Jaime is the main focus of this one, and he quickly finds out that the queen has been attacked basically, and they lost another dragon, and that Euron was the cause of it. And this, I feel, is going to be a hot topic for people, because I feel like so basically what happens is he hears it. He and Brienne are sleeping. He's just up, like you can tell his mind's just racked at this point. And he, like, it pans away and it pans back and he's gone. And he's getting on his horse. And he's going to King's Landing. Brienne comes out. They have a very painful goodbye, but he describes himself as being hateful, as well as Cersei, and I think that he is hateful towards Cersei, and I think that he is going to end this, like right now. Like he knows that he can get close, and he's gonna pull the Kingslayer.
And that's my second theory that I had, and you basically either one of two things is going to happen with him. Is he's either going there to show them a secret way into the city,
Oh,
or
yeah.
or he knows that, you know, it's one of those, it takes somebody as evil as her to kill her. So he's
Oh, yeah.
going to go and basically put an end to her. Like you said, here comes the Kingslayer
Yep.
again, you know, and he's gonna either A, he's gonna try to kill her and the mountain's gonna end up getting to him and ending him,
Which is
or, you know, he does kill her.
that would be the ironic moment there, because they
Right.
wouldn't allow him to do it easily. So that I could
No,
see that
no, no,
happening.
no.
He pulls like a knife or something, goes to kill her, and the bow just cleaves him in half.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like he absolutely just, he goes to stab her and he gets his other arm completely.
Oh man!
Yeah. And then that's when he or she turns around and runs a blade through him. One of the two.
That would be interesting.
Yeah. So I think that's he's not going to rejoin her. I don't
Yeah, no.
believe that at all.
But I think a lot of people are gonna think that, like,
Yeah.
he knows that. Well, okay, so first off, when he hears that their side is losing, why would he run off like that if he was just gonna go help?
Right. He's
like,
not, you know, and he hasn't ever given. He was, I mean, he's only been with them for 2 episodes.
Right.
Well, technically 3, but he's never given a reason why, you know, that he was not to be trusted. I mean, he's always in those.
if
3
anything,
episodes,
it's the opposite at this point.
yeah, like he was firmly entrenched with that group. Like,
Yeah.
I'm with you guys to the
He
end.
was like
So
basically groveling for the first time too, which was beyond his character.
Yeah, and that's why I think he's going to try to either lead them into a secret way to get into the city, or to kill his sister.
Just because I don't know how people are gonna take these theories, I want to back your theory up with some information, and it has to do with that moment where Tyrion and Jamie were talking, where it's back to episode 2 when Tyrion was like, "You always knew what she was, and you chose anyways." And like this is like a redemption arc for him now, where he's like, "I did know what she was. I should have stopped it.
Absolutely.
I need to fix this."
Yeah.
And then also, he loves Brienne.
Oh yeah.
He does, and I feel like at this point he is 100% on board. Like he might not necessarily like. I can see a lot of subterfuge in the future where he's gonna go to the army. He's like, oh yeah, he's not gonna tell anyone what he's doing. It's gonna make it look like I can see him doing something horrible, like killing someone, like maybe not necessarily like super important, but enough to get Cersei's attention. Like, oh yeah, you know, he came back to help.
Right.
Because he didn't burn any bridges or anything like that. So I think
Basically-
that's how he's gonna get back in with them.
Basically, what his dad did with the Mad King.
Yeah,
where he
exactly.
waited to the very end, and he pretended like, "Hey, we're here to defend the city," and then they open the gates, and he comes in and basically destroys everything.
Oh man, what? I just realized what a comparison between the groups, because like his father came to the aid of the Dragon King when he needed him the most, or like when it looked like he was gonna win, because he looked like he was in a state of power, and then turned on him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right. I like this. I think that's what's gonna happen.
We're putting pieces together here. Is
Yes.
what we're doing.
They're all fitting together now.
Yep. In our
so he-
minds, at least.
Yeah, right. So he rides off to King's Landing. We don't see him again. And then the tenuous moment between Cersei and Dany's groups. And of course, as typical fashion, they send out one of each. It's fitting that it's the hands. So you have Tyrion and Qyburn, which many of you might not have known his name. That's what the little
Qyburn's one of my
priest.
favorites.
He is such a diabolical son of a bitch. I really hope that he also gets a little bit of that Euron treatment. But anyways,
he's one of my favorites, man.
I hope that fucker gets scorched.
I think it's just the actor that plays him that makes him one of my favorites. He's fantastic. Yeah.
Great casting. But so they're discussing. They're like, oh, Daenerys would wants Cersei to have an unconditional surrender and then release Missandei of Noth. And then Cersei wants the unconditional surrender of Daenerys Targaryen and blah blah blah. And then they go back and forth, and then they're
Basically,
like, "Come on."
two demands that aren't going to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like, just nothing. And Tyrion pleads with Qyburn, like, "Listen, I don't want this to happen. Do you like, you know, the sound, like the screams of children. Come on, man. Don't help Cersei do this. Like, we can fix this right now between you and I."
Right.
And he's like, "I'm just a speaker. I don't have." It's like, and
he
he's like, "And by the
role.
way, your dragon is at a disadvantage now. Your soldiers are weak." And he's like, "And the golden," and like as he's like saying company, Tyrion's like, "I got on my face," and just walks right past him.
Yeah.
Straight to the source.
I love that part.
I respect the hell out of him for that. Like, "I'm done with you. I gotta go." So he walks right up to his sister and tries to plead with her, and he does a fairly good job. He's like, "I know you're not a monster. Like, don't do this. Horrible things are gonna happen if you let this happen." He's like, "I know you love your children. Do it for your unborn child. Like, don't give up your life for the crown that isn't yours." And then
she played it well. Like, she kind of gave off that, "I believe him. I'm going to."
Well,
but,
she
I've
was
been
thinking about it.
I've been watching Game of Thrones for a long time now to know that Cersei is a terrible person.
Yes.
And I did not think anything good was going to come of that speech.
Oh yeah,
If
when she
anything,
grabbed
it
her.
was just going to enrage her more.
Yep. Yeah, I knew she was beyond like reconciliation at all. Like there was no way that was gonna go anywhere without bloodshed. And when she grabbed her arm, I thought she was just gonna straight 300 her ass off that edge. It's like, boom, get off the castle.
Yeah, just grab her and just toss her.
Yeah.
Just throw her. Yeah.
But then,
I'm with you.
oof, and then Cersei gives the order to behead Missandei.
Well, she asks her what her last words were.
Yeah, but I'm trying not to show Cersei any kindness here.
Yeah. Well, no, because I was just saying because it was Dracarys. Basically, telling Dany to burn this place to the ground.
Sorry, that's a good point. Thank you for saying that. Yeah. Last words, she just screams, "Dracarys!"
Yeah.
Oh my god. And there's like, well,
and here comes the mountain.
He tried. And
here comes the mountain.
And then the mountain beheads Missandei in front of Grey Worm, which is her lover. And of course, Daenerys, and she was her closest.
That was the final straw, man.
Oh yeah, and like when it happened,
final straw.
Oh, Dany's face. It was like the face, I can't believe this is happening, and like that curl happens, like when someone just like her mouth just like curls in, and like everything just got real. And like she turns around, like almost like misses a step as she turns, like, you know, that like hit her right in the heart, and she just walks back, and Grey Worm looks away, and he like, I want to see what happens when they openly combat, or when they openly fight each other, because Grey Worm is going to kill so many people.
And this is where my theory kind of happens. My major theory is that she's not going to wait, and Grey Worm is not going to wait for Jon to get there with the. And I try not to watch. I may be wrong right off the bat because I don't watch the scenes from next week.
Oh, you don't? Okay, I won't say anything then. But
so
those of you who did watch it, you know.
So. I have a feeling that they're not going to wait, and they're going to go straight in and try to attack this place. Okay. And I think Dany gets killed before the series is over.
You and me, man.
I really think that they're going to get wiped out, and it's going to be up to Jon with the remainder of that army.
What I think is going to happen. Bad idea, but I think that I think what's going to happen is they will ultimately win, or like they'll be doing well, and then she's going to die, and then Jon's going to take up the dragon.
Yep.
and then it's gonna be like, oh, Drogon and freaking Jon, like, oh, the way it should have been.
Yes, exactly. And I really think that when I saw how insane she was starting to go, I said they ain't gonna wait for him to get down to King's Landing. She's gonna go in, and it's gonna be like this suicide mission type thing.
Well, what would she do though? Like, is she gonna go in and talk? She can't fight. Like,
I don't know. She rides the dragon. Something could happen to the dragon. I mean, not die.
Oh God,
but
I hope not.
Where she gets dropped, and
I don't know if my heart can handle another dragon dying in the next episode.
I like your idea that Jon ends up taking. She gets killed, and then Jon ends up taking up the dragon.
I think it's gonna be a vengeance ride. It's like the drag. Like I don't know if you saw that, but when Missandei got beheaded, Drogon was in the back like roaring, like he was freaking the fuck out.
He was ready to go. He was ready.
Because he know, like, I don't know if they have some kind of link, but like when Daenerys turned around and walked away, like that was when he was just like, like wow, like doing dragon things back there.
He was ready to go.
Yeah. And I think it's gonna come down to Jon with Drogon, and they're just gonna wipe it out. And I think maybe both of them die too at the end of it, but like something nuts is gonna happen.
You're taking it a step further with
it. Might. What I'm thinking might happen is I mean, I'm kind of siding a little bit because I really want Tyrion to be king, but
yeah, if your Twitter account is any,
listen, he can be president of something else. There's no giveaways here. But I really want him to be king.
Nah. I don't know. I do think one of them's gonna die. I don't know. Both of them will, but
it would be ironic because both the Targaryens, they're fighting to get. Oh no, bro. Have a good night. Thank you for stopping in and sticking around. I appreciate you.
Oh yeah, thank you for sure.
You're awesome, no, bro.
I'm with you. It's kind of a. Would you be surprised if both of them died? No.
No.
It's something that you grow to expect from Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, exactly.
You know, so no, I wouldn't be surprised. But on the same token, I kind of would be. I mean, I would rather one of them two be king or queen, but you know, my theory is at least one of them's gonna die.
Yeah, I would almost put money on the fact that one of them would die. I feel like it's almost necessary at this point because, like, who else would they kill? Like, if they kill Grey Worm, like, oh no, Missandei's dead. They're united in death now. They can't kill Tormund because he's in the north now. Oh. Yeah, okay. Bear with me. What if they push in? Daenerys dies. Dragon's wounded, but not dead. Jon takes the dragon out and gets him away from combat, brings him back to Winterfell, consolidates their power, and the free folk come back.
Oh, that's a lot to happen in 2 episodes. That could,
I don't think the way that Tormund said goodbye, I don't think it's the last time we're going to see him. And what glorious way would it be to bring the southern people to the north and let it all end on the frozen slopes, with the wall in the background and the free folk going to war for the 7 kingdoms? Like, wow, my God, it'd be a beautiful sight.
We're forgetting something.
What's that?
Arya and the Hound are on their way to King's Landing. And
yeah, how did I miss that? It was a huge point.
We're finally gonna get our Clegane Bowl, where we see the brothers finally fight.
Yes, I could see that, absolutely.
Yeah, that has to be the outcome for him. And she's going down there because she's still got Cersei on her list. So. Yeah, that's the last name I want to say that's on there. So
yeah, I apologize about that. It was on my list. I don't know how I missed that.
Yeah, I was like, well, when I was kind of surprised we passed that up. It just dawned on me just now. I didn't think of it earlier, but
it was a really cool scene. The two of them like met up on the road. It's like, son of a bitch.
There we go again. Yeah. It's like
But-
season 4 all over again.
They did mention like they both have unfinished business in King's Landing,
Yep.
and they both don't expect to ever see Winterfell again.
Yeah, or they don't expect to survive it.
It was left pretty open. Like I don't plan on returning.
I took it as they both expect to die doing what they're meaning to do.
Oh, that'd be. Oh, now I really want this all to end at Winterfall, because how like truly beautiful it would be. It all began in the north. Let the southern armies go to the north and let the north crush them all.
Yep. Finish it where it all started.
I really hope that's what happens.
Oh.
But I mean, that's. Did you have any other theories you want to get into?
No. I just had the two.
Okay.
The one with Jamie, and then the one where I think she's gonna go in super hot, and that little group is gonna get wiped out before Jon gets down there.
I feel like we will have a catastrophic event of some sort, like you know how the Mad King used the what they call the fire, that fire they had on that he used to destroy the town basically, or city. They use it in the Battle of the Blackwater.
Yeah, the green fire.
What's that called?
Dragon's breath? No.
Oh no.
I can't think of it.
Yeah, I can't think of it either. But I think we're gonna have a situation similar to the Mad King lighting the city on fire. I think maybe not necessarily the dragon going nuts, but something else will happen where I think that Cersei is going to turn on the people. Like she is just gonna like unleash something, maybe that, and just torch a bunch of people, and that's gonna be the moment where everyone's like, "Oh, wait, she's actually evil."
Well, I mean, if anybody.
The citizens don't know anything. They think she's kind for letting them come in. They saw a dragon. They're like, word of the dragons is spread everywhere. They're like, oh god, the dragons are coming to kill us. Like, oh, it's okay. Come hide out in the keep. You'll be safe here. By the way, I'm using you as human fodder. Thanks.
Oh, it's wildfire. That's,
wildfire. Okay.
Yeah, I had to look it up. It was going to aggravate me if I didn't.
Because I really can't do it without messing up everything. So
yeah,
I appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, I feel like there's going to be some kind of cataclysmic event that is going to like shake a lot of the, not just the opinion on Cersei, and maybe they do truly turn against her, and then what if they turn, like, you know that moment when she was in the street when everyone was like throwing turnips at her and stuff? What if that happens again, but instead of vegetables it's stones, and like they just like like she just gets killed by the masses that she is like basically thought she was above this entire time?
That would be a crazy turn, is what that would be.
It's like she's already had her moment.
Yeah.
Like,
true.
Like this. I can't wait to see what happens.
That's a good theory. I like that. Yeah.
Well,
we got 2 episodes left.
You have our theories now. What are yours? We would love to know what you think is gonna happen, and you know, throw a couple, you know, a little logic in there, maybe a couple of scenes that you've seen that maybe siding towards that, and we'll discuss it. And like I've been saying this whole time, any comments that are in relation to theories and whatnot, we'll read. I really haven't seen any that really jumped out that we should be reading. I'll go back through and do a thorough search though, make sure, because we got 4 episodes up now, and I'm hoping we have something that we can chit chat about. But yeah, I mean, this is like I've been saying since the beginning, this isn't just our show. This is a show for theories. Your theories, our theories, anyone's theories. We can make theories together.
We kind of talked this morning about, I think I'm going to create a Twitter account for Beards and Theories. That way we can put polls out and, you know, get people's thoughts on certain things, and that way we can bring that to the stream, you know, and read some of the, I'm sure that'll be a way to pick up some theories too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm going to be working on that either tomorrow night, or because I got to work tomorrow, but sometime tomorrow I'll have it up and running. So hopefully by tomorrow night.
Awesome.
And that way we can, you know, if you have a poll you want to put up, you can just hop on there and throw it up there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, this is shaping up pretty cool. I like this.
Yeah.
Right, but that was our attempt at making some interesting theories for you. I hope you had a good time. Like we said before, this is Bob the Butcher from Butcher's Playhouse. I am Dwarvian, and we hope to hear from you soon. Get to crafting? Try to do
Crafting those
outro,
theories.
maybe? I don't know.
Craft those theories.
Get to crafting!
Do it now.
Do it! All right. Have a good night, everyone. We will see you next week. Farewell.